It was a shock when our family cat, Nancy, died giving birth to only one kitten, and an even bigger shock when we saw the kitten was born with 2 heads. My father said it was an omen. An omen of what? I asked. The kitten let out a noise, half squeak, half cough. Pa paused. I don't know, but we all agreed it meant something, so we named the kitten Omen. The vet told us Omen wouldn't last long. Mutations like this rarely made it past a few weeks. He suggested we sell the kitten to a lab or museum. 2 heads, 2 sets of genitals. A 5-figure paycheck, he said. We refused. Omen was ours. As we left the clinic, the vet tried to make a joke. Maybe they'll live a little longer. 9 lives, right? Pa looked at Omen's 2 heads, then back at him. 18, he said. 18 lives. We raised Omen like a member of the family, both heads hungry, both eyes alert. Omen purred when nestled into our laps, drank from 2 bottles at once, and loved to be held while sleeping. They'd chatter to themselves softly when alone, like siblings whispering secrets. By their first birthday, Omen brought us a gift, a 2-headed mouse. It wasn't the strangest part. The strangest part was how proud they looked, how both heads mewed in perfect sync. They're telling us something, Pa said. They're not alone, Ma whispered. We couldn't take Omen on vacation. They tried to claw at our shoes as if begging us not to go. When we came back, every clock in the house had been smashed. After that, Omen brought gifts. Dead birds, frogs, fish, even half a squirrel once, guts hanging loose. He thinks we're hungry, Pa said. Disgusting, Ma muttered, but I saw Pa whisper as he threw it away. Sorry, Omen. Omen knew things they shouldn't. When Uncle came to stay for his final days, Omen took up vigil beside his bed, refused food, refused water. Both heads stayed still, scanning the room. Hours before Uncle died, Omen growled at something invisible that entered the room. They mewed once, soft, pleading, then fell silent. Moments later, Uncle nodded toward nothing and passed. When Ma announced she was pregnant, Omen sneezed. Once from each head. She had twins. Omen adored them. From day one, both heads watched them with reverence. 2 of them, just like us. A neighbor's child died after falling from a wall. Omen was found at the scene, lapping blood like cream. Came home with crimson fur and skipped dinner. They were full. Later, a woman came to the door. Yellow teeth, ghost-pale skin. Said she'd seen our cat. Said they were bad luck. Said she'd pay to take them off our hands. We said no. She spat on our door and said, I'll see you soon. That night, I heard pounding on the kitchen door. Let me in, came the voice, over and over. I turned and saw her face at every window. 3 sides of the house, all of them her, all of them wrong, screeching, hungry. I hid under the table. Pa found me there. Omen sat, tail flicking, watching the door. Both heads whispering to each other, serious. A week later, I saw the woman again. In the mirror, she came through the bathroom door as I brushed my teeth, pale face, reaching hands. My arm grabbed the alarm clock, heavy brass, and hurled it at the glass. It shattered. Omen was already inside, blinking calmly. 2 faces reflected a dozen times in the shards. They pressed their forehead to mine, just once, and left. The twins were followed home by a man with slick back hair and a long coat. He said things they didn't understand, made gestures they didn't know were vile. Ma caught him standing at the gate, staring into Omen's eyes. He didn't move, didn't blink. When the police came, he was gone. A week later, he made headlines, filled his coat with rocks and drowned himself in the river. Omen coughed up a blonde hairball. Omen discovered catnip and went on a 3-day binge, staring at their own reflection like they were seeing something else entirely. After that, they never touched it again. Time passed. Omen aged. Their sleek black coat turned dull. The spot on their left head faded. Their once sharp eyes grew milky. Sometimes one head would wake the other, forgetting they were the same. In their last week, Omen visited each of us. One night with Pa, one with Ma, one with each twin, and finally one with me. They curled beside me, purring like kindling. Before they passed, they made one last tour of the house, checked behind every door, under every bed, as if to say, "You're safe now." We buried Omen beneath their favorite tree, in a wooden box lined with newspaper. We planted an orchid above the grave. A month later, 2 buds grew from the soil. We weren't surprised. Not at all. They called it the suicide room. Room 733. Not exactly what I wanted to hear on my first day as a freshman. Lydia and I were assigned to room 734, next door. It wasn't one of the new South Hall dorms either. Nope. We were in the older wing, 7th floor. Cracked paint, small windows, ancient wiring. Still, at least I got to room with my best friend. By mid-morning, we were mostly unpacked when our RA Beth popped in. Blonde, chipper, and about as deep as a puddle. She noticed Lydia's drawing of Cthulhu and asked if it was that Kraken from Pirates of the Caribbean. Lydia gave her a death glare. Beth tried making small talk, then dropped it. "You don't want the corner room. Room 733. There were a couple of suicides in there. A hanging and a jumper, I think. Anyway, guys aren't allowed after 11. Toodles." Lydia stared after her. I hate her. I was more fixated on that bombshell. 2 suicides? Same room? Lydia shrugged. Not our room. Still, it stuck with me. I found myself staring at the tiny window. It was barely wide enough to squeeze through. You'd have to really want to die to climb out of that thing. But that was just the beginning. College life settled in. Lydia got a boyfriend, Mike, a frat pledge. I studied. Things were normal until the noises started. Late one night, we both woke to the sound of a window opening and slamming shut. Over and over, we froze. It wasn't our window. It was the one next door. But that couldn't be. Room 733 was padlocked shut from the outside. We joked about ghosts, but I could see it in Lydia's face. She was scared. I was too. From then on, I started hearing other things. Marbles rolling, whispering behind the closet wall. Our closet that shared a wall with 733. Then one afternoon, someone knocked on our door. I called out, "Come in," but no one answered. Then it knocked again. I turned around. The hall door was already open. The knocking came from behind me, the closet. "Lydia, you're not funny." No answer. Just as I grabbed the handle, Lydia's voice came from behind me, at the door. "I thought you were hiding in the closet," I stammered. She flung it open. Nothing inside but boxes. "I know what I heard," I whispered. We told her boyfriend Mike about it. He wasn't surprised. "Yeah, that's the suicide room. I heard it's haunted. 3 people have died in there." 3? We both said. Over the next few nights, it escalated. Whispering. Bangs. Then one night, I saw it. I bent down to peek under the locked door of 733. I saw stacked chairs and dusty beds. The room looked untouched, except for the massive open windows. Windows that looked far too big from inside the building. As I stared, the moonlight vanished. And then I saw it, a yellow eye, inches from mine. I screamed and woke half the dorm. Lydia and I put in for room transfers. We avoided our dorm at night. Her boyfriend's frat was planning a Halloween initiation in the suicide room, and she was furious. Meanwhile, I met Alice, an admin assistant who'd researched the Riley suicides. She confirmed the worst. There weren't 2 or 3 deaths. There were 5, all suicides, all alone, all in room 733. But here's the twist. Alice showed me the old floor plan. Years ago, the numbers were shifted after they added the south wing. What we thought was 734 used to be 733. Our room was the suicide room, and Lydia had gone back to sleep there alone. We sprinted back to Riley. From outside, we could see the windows of our room open. And for the first time ever, the windows of the corner room, what we thought was 733, were shut. We raced upstairs. I threw the door open. And Lydia looked back at me. For one moment, a flicker of hope crossed her tear-streaked face. And then she stepped forward. She screamed the whole way down. I don't remember much after that. I picked up her drawings, dozens of them, showing her dead family members, twisted in ways I won't describe. She'd drawn things that made me physically sick to look at. And then one last drawing slid out from under the closet door. It showed the closet, from my exact vantage point, And something was looking back. It's been 9 years. Every fall I call resident services. I ask about Riley Hall. Every year they tell me the 7th floor is still closed, until this year. This year the man on the phone said, "We just got approval this morning. They're opening the 7th floor again. Room 733 is ready." I was born into one of those old Southern families, the kind with crumbling barns, collapsing mansions, and long, silent legacies soaked in sin. We had once been rich, but the land was overrun with weeds and Spanish moss, and every structure felt abandoned by time itself. And we were all men. No women, no mothers or grandmothers, no sisters or aunts. Just Pa, my 5 brothers, and me. We didn't question it. Our lives were simple. Cleaning up ruins, tending to land nature was reclaiming faster than we could push it back. Pa had strange rules. We couldn't enter the chapel without him. We weren't allowed to speak to women. Even in town, we could only nod politely, say "thank you, ma'am," and keep our mouths shut. Odd, yes, but it was the only world we knew. Until Jamie, my oldest brother, he fell for a girl at the drugstore, snuck off to see her when we were in town. Laszlo, the youngest, ratted him out. I'll never forget Pa's pale face when he grabbed Jamie's shoulders and said in that deadly quiet voice, "You're seeing a girl." They went to the porch. No yelling, just that voice Pa had, the one that made you feel like dirt. When Jamie came back, he was changed. He wouldn't talk about it. But the next time we went to town, he walked right past that girl, eyes dead ahead. She never looked at us the same again. Life went on until Jamie turned 18. That morning, Pa dressed us in our best clothes and led us to the chapel. For years it had been locked, forbidden. Now we sat in the pews while Pa took Jamie up to the pulpit. There beneath the altar, a trap door creaked open. Together they descended. When Pa came back alone, he simply said, "Time to go home, boys." Jamie was in bed the next morning like nothing happened. But weeks later, I saw Pa take him out again in the middle of the night. Jamie came back shaking, crying. After that, he was never the same. My turn came that fall. Pa woke me early and helped me into the same suit Jamie wore. As we stood outside the chapel, his voice was warm. "Just follow my lead." The doors opened on their own. Bells rang, though the tower was still. We walked in step past my staring brothers to the pulpit. Pa opened the trap door and led me down. What lay below wasn't hell, but it wasn't far from it. A tunnel lined with candles, moths fluttering everywhere. The air was thick with sweetness. At the end, a stone door. Beyond it, a vast chamber bathed in candlelight. And at its center, something that lived. What I thought was a bed was flesh, huge, white, and sagging. Arms, dozens of them, twisted at unnatural angles. A head like a cracked porcelain doll turned toward me. It smiled. Its antennae swayed gently. "Hello, sweet Elias," it said in a voice wet and wrong. "I birthed your father and your father's father. I birthed you. And now you must give of yourself, so I may have your son." I should have run, but the scent, the presence, it seduced my mind. It held me close, whispered to me, wrapped its arms around me, and I gave in. I won't describe what happened, only that I felt something I've never felt again. Love, security, pleasure, a kind of warmth that haunted me and still does. I woke in my bed, sore and dazed. Pa smiled at me with pride, but Jamie stared with hollow eyes. Months passed. I tried to bury the memory. I told myself it was our legacy, normal even. But Jamie confronted me. He grabbed me by the arm, wild-eyed. "Ever wonder why we can't talk to girls? Why we're all boys?" He looked straight through me. "It can't choose what it gives birth to, but if it births a girl," his voice dropped. "Mine was a girl." And he walked away. That night, Pa woke me. "Come, son," he said, back to the chapel, down the stairs. But this time the smell was blood, not sweetness. The thing screamed. Its bloated body writhed. It cursed Pa by name. And then it gave birth. A cocoon. I watched as a tiny fist tore through. A baby's cry filled the chamber. I approached and freed it from the gauze. It was a girl. The creature's voice turned pleading. "Bring it to me." I hesitated. Pa was behind me, burned and shaking. "Give it to her, son. It'll be over soon." I looked at the baby. She gripped my shirt with everything she had, and I ran. I ran through the woods, her cries echoing. Found myself at a door, Shirley's, the girl Jamie once loved. She opened it and her eyes softened. "Please, Pa," I begged. She saved us. We traveled, town to town. Debbie, my daughter, grew strong. I found work, stopped pretending I cared for sex or love. I lived for her. Years passed. I thought we were free, but I was wrong. Yesterday was Debbie's 14th birthday. This morning, she locked herself in the bathroom, sobbing. When she opened the door, I saw them. 2 long, feathery antennae unfurling from her forehead, just like her mother's, just like mine.